It's your boy Trey, and I got the 1985 effect. I think it's talking about Smoke Perp because he's the thumbnail. So like, let's get into it. The video is 16 minutes long. Hit that like and subscribe button, y'all. This should be a banger.
Now, just a message to any and every young rapper out there who's trying to make it in this rap game. Whatever you do, there's something I want you to study very deeply. Now, I would call this something somewhat of a guideline, something that's going to put you in the right direction and most importantly, make you stay in that direction. What exactly am I talking about though? That's something that I'm talking about is 1985 by J. Cole. The 1985 effect has, for the second time, proven itself to be an actual thing. This video was actually inspired by Smoke Perp, the young Florida rapper recently released an album titled Florida Jit, and some of you probably might know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. At this very moment, Smoke Perp is the rapper a lot of people in the hip-hop community are making fun of. The reason for that is because his album didn't do all that well, despite having some heavy hitters as features like Denzel Curry, Jack Harlow, and Rick Ross, and of course his friend Lil Pump. The first week sales of the album ended up being 5,000 copies. It's honestly been a while since I've seen numbers that are at this low of a level. The last time I remember that happening was when Tyga did a little over 2,000 copies back in 2015. There are so many things I want to lay out on the table regarding this topic, but let's start with the first point, which is the word fan base. Smoke Perp has 4+ million followers on Instagram. Now, a rapper like Smoke Perp selling 5,000 copies first week tells me one thing and one thing only. There's a lack of a fan base when it comes to him. He's not the only rapper who has this issue. More than any time in hip-hop, this is very common right now. So many rappers are popping off left and right. They're getting hundreds and thousands of followers in the matter of weeks, and then fast forward to when they actually drop an album and their so-called fans aren't really there to support them. And that's because they're not really fans, they're just followers. And there's a really big difference between Instagram followers and actual fans. Right now, we're living in an extremely viral time. Things are moving faster than they've ever been moving. Smoke Perp is of course someone who has benefited from this. He of course took off back in 2017 alongside Lil Pump. Coming up, both of these guys were viewed as a duo, the two poppin' and young Florida rappers who were on their way up together. We all saw how this movie played out though. Lil Pump absolutely blew up with Gucci Gang and kind of left Smoke Perp behind. Definitely not the best place to be in. What happens when one of the acts starts packing his bags, figuratively speaking, and leaves the other one behind? I want to emphasize this one thing. The way you come into the game is usually how things end for most rappers. The popping rapper trap, you've heard me use this term throughout my videos because I see how it's affecting these young rappers. That's exactly where someone like Smoke Perp is at right now. I want you to realize that Smoke Perp was a rapper who was extremely heavy on the antics when he was first taken off. After all, he was close friends with the antics king, which is Lil Pump. And on top of that, he was also one of the leaders of the whole J. Cole movement. What you heard right there was Smoke Perp leading an J. Cole chant at one of his shows right after KOD by J. Cole dropped. 1985, I Arrived. The moment J. Cole very gracefully responded to Lil Pump after Pump dissed J. Cole several times and even once during that period recorded a diss track aimed at him. Smoke Perp was also, of course, included in this 1985 response, but this was mainly aimed at Lil Pump. That's why that J. Cole and Lil Pump interview became a thing later on. By this point, most of us have already seen that interview, but what exactly was the purpose of it? If you ask me, my interpretation, J. Cole wanted to sit down with Lil Pump to understand him.
I realized that in time.
Right, we got trolling and shit.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, at work, once you seen it started picking up, you had to be like, oh yeah, I'm about to run with this. Like,
this was Cole picking Lil Pump's brain on the true motives behind him leading that J. Cole movement. Lil Pump specifically stated in this interview, right before this part that I played you, that he was strictly trolling during that time. Despite this being obvious to most of us, I think the most interesting thing about Pump being face-to-face with the same man he was very unnecessarily disrespecting on social media was seeing the contrast between his energy on camera versus in real life.
Wow, you get so much props. You just a 17-year-old. Lame ass Jit. I ain't worried about none of you old heads. I ain't with none of that lyric. I just be having fun with what I do.
I think J. Cole played his role in this interview really well. You got to keep in mind, there was a purpose behind it. Apart from the understanding part of things, there was also another aspect, education.
Did you even think it would get to the point of even this, where it's like, or where we would have a conversation? Like, never.
You either
Believe it or not, this interview served as validation to J. Cole, because it's one thing to make a song and it's another thing to sit down and school the person you're speaking to on your record in real life. On top of that, he kept the same let me school you but not be condescending energy he had on the song in person as well, and that's consistency. 1985 by J. Cole served as a guide for the young rappers from this generation to follow. Why would a young and poppin' rapper listen to anything J. Cole has to say, you might ask? Well, because he's been that young and poppin' rapper. I remember I was 18, he rapped, playing that big brother role instead of looking down on them. The thing is, 1985 is the guide a lot of young rappers won't or don't follow. This is actually something I kind of understand, because you're supposed to live the way you want to live. What Cole talks about on 1985 is one way of living. Most young and poppin' hip-hop artists don't really want to avoid buying chains and avoid living the fast life, all because it's going to help their future self. Technically, that's the right thing to do, but it's of course easier said than done. Kodak Black is a great example of what I'm talking about. What did J. Cole say on Middle Child? Had a long talk with the young nigga Kodak, reminded me of young niggas from Ville, straight out the projects, no faking, just honest. I wish that he had more guidance for real. We've all been asking ourselves, how come Kodak Black is constantly getting into trouble every other day? This man is literally throwing away his blessings all for nothing. But then again, that's the way he's been operating his whole life. Kodak comes from that life. It's ingrained in his character to act out, and that's why it's easier said than done. He's literally fighting against his own programming, and this is obviously something Cole knows. That's why he was wishing for someone to guide him in the right direction in his younger years. There's other artists we've heard Cole give advice to apart from Kodak. He's gave some to Logic as well on the outro track of Everybody with that secret feature. But one reason why I think so many people are resonating with J. Cole when it comes to the advice he's giving to young rappers on 1985 is because he does it in a very non-condescending way. And that's why I think the effect is so powerful in the first place. If it wasn't powerful, then the same guy he responded to on there would have never been sitting in the same room with him. Not only did he approach it from a very objective standpoint, but was he really lying? You've seen what happened to Lil Pump. He's been stuck in that poppin' rapper trap for some time now. He's been trapped inside that Lil Pump prison, and that's why every single time his buzz hits a new low, he pulls some kind of social media stunt to get people's attention again. The most recent stunt was, of course, the Juice WRLD Private Jet lyrics, which I made a video on.
Like Juice WRLD, 70 pounds on the private jet.
You don't really see too many people talking about Lil Pump when he's not dropping music or when he's not acting out on social media. Now this is the part where J. Cole talks about this on 1985. One day them kids that's listening gonna grow up and get too old for that shit that made you blow up. Now your show's looking light because they don't show up, which unfortunately means the money slow up. Now you're scrambling and hoping to get hot again, but you forgot you only popped because you was riding trends. I think Lil Pump gave J. Cole all the ammunition he needed for this one, all because he very unnecessarily came for him and forced Cole to respond. It ain't like he's not speaking facts though. The writing trends part is as clear as it can be. The peak of rappers like this is when the antics are in full effect. People can't cling on to the clout chasing activities that you're constantly involving yourself in forever. That's one of the bigger takeaways from 1985. At some point, like Cole said, the money will start slowing up. It's either that or the buzz will completely die down to the point where you have to resort to constantly chasing the high, and that's something that gets exhausting. Not only does it get exhausting, but it also gets old. Not only does it get old, but your fans get old. Now you old news and you're going through regrets because you never bought a house, but you got a Benz and a bunch of jewels and a bunch of shoes and a bunch of fake friends. I ain't judging you. This is J. Cole hitting on something I've talked about a lot on my channel, and that's the conversation about what kind of people a lot of these rappers surround themselves with. As soon as they get into the industry, they start building all these so-called friendships that are built on a very fickle foundation. A lot of times it's built on what they can gain from that situation. J. Cole also talks about the lifestyle aspect of it. They got the car or multiple cars, but no house in sight. I don't even think this part is exclusive to rappers at all. This is a people problem. We as people don't always make the smartest financial decisions because we live in a consumer society. Buy this product, buy that product, don't forget to buy this as well, and that will fill whatever void you have inside of you. Obviously, it's a whole bunch of cappery, okay? It's all cap to keep us attached to useless materials that won't make us any happier. Right now, I personally know a couple people who are driving around in the newest Mercedes model, but they're sleeping on a floor by choice, and they're inhaling oxygen for breakfast and lunch and having sleep for dinner every single night by choice. This is obviously happening because they want to keep on pulling up in that Mercedes. And that's why I'm saying that this is a people problem and not necessarily a rapper problem that J. Cole is addressing. When it comes to rappers and the rap industry, this aspect is obviously a huge part of things. The glorification of materialism has been a part of the hip-hop culture. Just like I said in my 6ix9ine versus Lil Baby video though, it's even bigger now because rappers have the ability to document and show off that kind of lifestyle. J. Cole himself is a rapper who's actually anti-materialism.
Saying basically what I'm telling you right now, what I realize is like the monetary, the material, even the success and like the things that you place your importance on, never can satisfy you and ever make you happy because they never end. There's no amount of money that will ever make you stop if money is what you care about. You'll keep going. Oh, I got $1 million, gotta get 10, got 10, gotta get 100, got 100, gotta get 5, got 5, gotta get $1 billion. If it's cars, you'll never have enough cars. If it's women, you'll never have enough. You'll be chasing them forever. If it's success, you can never get enough of that. I realize that. It's like, it doesn't stop. It keeps calling you. It's like a drug.
It's a hamster wheel.
It's a hamster wheel. And it's like...
The only reason why this is the case, though, is because he himself went through a little phase of being that rapper who rocked chains and expensive designer clothes. It's never really been a part of his image as a rapper, but that phase does exist, which is the point. Nowadays, though, we know that he doesn't place too much or any value, for that matter, on material possessions. On his classic Forest Hills Drive album he dropped in 2014, he talks about this on the track Yours Truly, the song where J. Cole flips the script on everyone and glamorizes the struggle while distancing himself from the flashy lifestyle. I think him, once again, bringing this up on 1985, but directing this knowledge to his fellow rappers is very congruent with the kind of person he actually is. Him pretty much saying all this years before on, for example, Yours Truly is highly consistent with the advice he's giving on 1985. And I think this is something that makes the rappers he's speaking to more receptive towards the message. He's been on both sides. He knows that it's going to lead to a dead-end road at the end. This is an aspect of this conversation I really want to emphasize because an artist like J. Cole, who's been on both sides, has the perspective a Lil Pump lacks. I think that's why a lot of young rappers aren't really concerned with the future because they're popping right now, they're getting the money right now, they're on top right now, and the fall off is always, and I mean always, inevitable for a rapper like that because they're not scheming and planning for the future. The assumption that their wave is gonna last forever is exactly what's holding them back. The rappers who are in it for the long term grow and adapt. An example, 21 Savage. 2 years ago, 21 Savage announced that he no longer was gonna wear any jewelry.
I stopped wearing jewelry for a couple of reasons. One is because everybody wears jewelry. I outgrew it. I'm getting a little wiser and growing. So another reason is because the richest people that I've ever met in my life, they never had on jewelry. Every time I meet somebody who's very, very rich, like wealthy, I've never seen them with jewelry on.
He's actually been consistent with this. Looking at his Instagram, he hasn't really been messing with the jewelry like that. Apart from earrings and watches, which isn't much, he's been sticking to his words. I think there's two kinds of rappers in the industry. The ones who get wiser and the ones who get foolish. A good example of getting wiser is 21 Savage, and 1985 is definitely not talking about the rappers who grow and evolve. It is, however, directly addressing the rappers who go in that other direction. By the way, just to make something very clear, there's nothing wrong with a rapper wearing jewelry. I got some myself. Gotta stay icy, gotta stay clean. You gotta stun from time to time.
Sir.
Yes, sir. I'm more so laser focusing on the growth and mentality aspect, and that's why the fall off is inevitable for a rapper who doesn't evolve, who doesn't grow, and who chooses to ignore the reality of the things Cole is hitting on. And the thing is, a lot of them don't willingly ignore reality. They're simply not aware of the pitfalls. Lozan most likely wasn't aware of how his management businessman was gonna end up controlling him when he got signed. Lil Pump most likely wasn't aware that all the social media stunts he was pulling when he was blowing up were eventually gonna become old to people. Smoke Perp most likely wasn't planning on selling 5,000 copies first week 3 years ago. The point is, these aren't things that you plan for, and that's why they're the pitfalls of the rapper journey. The 1985 effect is a very simple concept. It's when a young rapper is reckless with their career. They don't see the danger zones they can fall into if they're not careful and don't make wise decisions for themselves. 1985 by J. Cole paints this reality very vividly, and this reality seems to grow stronger and stronger as time goes on. And in this case, we already have 2 confirmed casualties. The victims are Smoke Perp and Lil Pump. And like I said earlier in the video, 1985 is a guideline. This is a song on how any young and poppin' rapper should preferably navigate through the rap game. I'd be lying if I said that I believe every rapper can operate this way, but one thing I do believe 100% is the fact that you guaranteed will be better off if you do. If I had to summarize this effect in one sentence, 1985 is about how to build a long-lasting career as a young rapper by consciously avoiding all the dangers and the pitfalls that come with being in that position. In the future, you're gonna see a whole lot of cases that once again validate everything Cole is talking about on this song. After all, there's an abundance of young rappers who are blowing up left and right, and the lyrical content in 1985 is very relevant to most of them. But yeah, the 1985 effect presented by J. Cole featuring me. But what do you personally think about this entire topic though? Do you think that the 1985 effect is something that actually exists? Definitely let me know in the comment section below, and let's have a discussion about this.
It does exist. It gotta exist. I'm definitely subscribing to bro. He's I am Black He Speaks. He fire. I'm a dope. Y'all check him out, bro. Bro fire. And it's outro, y'all. But y'all, bro, let's talk about this real quick. So y'all, what y'all think? Is the 1985 effect real? You could honestly say yeah, cause like y'all know Tiger fell off when Tiger fell off. But Tiger came back, but we can't even lie. He made one of the best comebacks ever. Really, we thought he was done with. But yeah, bro, Lil Pump definitely fell off super hard. I never really listened to Smoke Perp, so I can't really say nothing about that really. But you can make this case because a lot of rappers do fall off. Like YK Osiris. Well, he never. It's just he had that one good song. He was good, bro. So bro, some rappers just consistent, you know. Who else fell off? Let me see. Who else could you say fell off? This is actually hard. Bro explained it so good, bro. Bro, that's bro. Rappers do they be too caught in the moment, bro. They gonna make their career last. 21 Savage is one of them who evolved over the years. Like the Baby, he got better. He used to be as good as he is now. Well, he probably was. He just when it's popping. You feel me? Juice WRLD was popping, bro. You could have said Lil that for Lil Durk, but Lil Durk came back. Nigga super cold. Bro, it's like Chief Keef. That's an example, Chief Keef. That's an example right there. Bro fell off. I don't know when the last time he dropped a good song. With that song with Lil Uzi. Hey, but y'all, let me know what y'all think about the 1985 effect in the comment section, y'all. Hit that subscribe button, like button, y'all. We got more videos coming today, actually. See y'all.